Hello, Mr. Sinclair. Thank you for joining us. To start things off, why don't you tell us why you'd be a good candidate for Mars 107?
I think I'd be a good candidate for Mars 107 for a variety of reasons. I'm a good communicator, I feel as though I'm a good leader, and I think I'm good at delegation. Someone's going to have to be there to remind everyone we have one common goal, and that's to survive on a planet by ourselves. I feel as though I'd be really good at that. I've actually had a lot of past experience in delegation. All throughout high school, I was a member of Model United Nations, where we had to come together to solve a common goal. I always felt as though I was the main driving force of the delegation, and I always felt as if everybody won when we came out. I actually won an award for being most like my country.
Oh, that's very fascinating, Mr. Sinclair. Which country were you?
North Korea.
So what kind of skills would you bring to high-intensity situations with your group?
The most important thing in any high-intensity situation is that everybody's working together properly. I feel as though I'd make sure everything runs smoothly within the group. I'd be the lube of the group, if you will. When things get long and hard, I'll make sure things slide through smoothly. I make sure any climactic situation doesn't end too terribly.
And how will you do this?
The most important thing in any group is having solid group norms and following them to a T. The rules need to be fair for everybody, but also make sure things will operate smoothly. Nobody's an exception, and I feel as though I'd be a good person to make the norms, and yeah.
Do you feel you have any other skills that we should know about?
I'm also a very skilled gymnast.
Quite impressive. You've talked about how you keep things running smoothly, but what about when conflict does arise?
Well, on Mars, things will be tight. The sheer isolation and hard-working conditions we'll have to endure will obviously make tensions run a bit high. And though petty conflicts on Earth may not matter much, on Mars it could mean the difference between life and death, which means these conflicts need to be resolved as soon as possible. I've often found that the quickest way to resolve conflict is to find a unifying factor between the two conflicting parties. And on Mars, the unifying factor for all of us will be survival and the success of our colony. So if I can just remind everybody of that, hopefully conflict will stop.
And what about when crisis arises?
I've always had the philosophy better safe than sorry, and I'm prepared for any kind of crisis.
You're sick!
Alright, Mr. Sinclair, do you have any closing remarks?
I feel like I'd be a really great candidate for Mars 107 because of my extensive experience working in groups. After Model UN in high school, I also worked in a group called Mesa, where when I first joined, there were only about 3 other people in the group. We were about to be disqualified due to our lack of participation. I thought this was unacceptable, so I went out and got about 12 other people to join the club, and next year we won 2 of the 5 categories, which really shows something. I think I'd be really great, and I really hope this colony succeeds.